I get it. Scrolling through endless photos of glossy finishes and scrolling specs, you think you've found the perfect Strat, only to discover it feels off the moment you strap it on. That's the worst part of buying a guitar online. The picture can't tell you how the weight settles on your shoulder or whether the neck slides comfortably under your hand. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. So let's break down what you really get with the American Professional II Stratocaster and why it might be the safe bet you've been hunting for, or why you should keep looking. First off, the thing that trips people up is assuming any Strat will behave the same. The American Professional II line is Fender's answer to the professional grade promise. You're not just getting a pretty finish, you're paying for a set of tolerances that keep the guitar in tune after a night of gigging, and a feel that stays consistent from the first chord to the last solo. The body is carved from Alder, a wood that's been a Fender staple for decades because it balances weight and resonance. In practice, that means the guitar isn't featherlight like a pot metal Superstrat, but it also isn't a slab of mahogany you can't lift. When I tried it in a rehearsal room, the balance point sat right where my strap button was, so the instrument didn't pull my back forward as I moved between chords. For a player who spends a lot of time standing, that ergonomic sweet spot cuts down fatigue. The neck is where the Professional II really starts to separate itself from the entry-level lines. It's a modern deep C shape, paired with a maple fingerboard, which gives a slightly rounded grip that feels natural under both a light grip and a more aggressive picking hand. The maple board adds a bright, articulate snap to each note, something you notice instantly when you play clean blues licks or high-up country twangs. If you've spent a lot of time on a rosewood fingerboard, the first few minutes feel a little slick, but once you get used to the extra brightness, you start to appreciate the clarity. The frets are medium jumbo, and because Fender ships the instrument pre-set up, the action was low enough for easy bending without fret buzz, yet high enough that you weren't constantly worrying about the strings hitting the metal. Now, the pickups are the heart of any electric guitar, and the Professional II comes with 3 V-Mod single-coil pickups. They're not the same vintage-style Alnico that you find in a 70s Strat. Instead, they're wound to give a slightly higher output while still retaining that classic single-coil chime. In real-world use, that translates to a surprisingly full sound when you crank up the amp. I ran it through a typical boutique overdrive and a clean Fender amp. The bridge pickup cut through the mix with a biting edge perfect for rock riffs, the middle pickup gave a balanced, slightly vocal tone ideal for rhythm, and the neck pickup delivered a warm, rounded voice that sang on blues bends. The practical strength here is versatility. You can get a decent humbucker-like punch without needing a separate pickup configuration. The downside, however, is the inevitable hum you get with any single coil when you dig into higher gain. If you plan to play heavy metal with saturated distortion, you'll either need a noise gate or consider a guitar with actual humbuckers. Let's talk about daily usability. The control layout is exactly what you'd expect: a master volume, tone, and a 5-way selector. The knob feel is solid, and the selector clicks into each position with a satisfying tactile response. When I switched from position 1, bridge, to position 5, neck, mid-song, there was no audible click or dip in volume, something you often overlook until you're on stage. The strap button on the heel is reinforced, which is a subtle but important detail if you're swapping guitars between songs. The finish, a classic 3-color Sunburst, shows off the grain of the Alder nicely and resists minor scratches during transport. It does show fingerprints on the gloss, so you'll want a microfiber cloth in your gig bag, but that's a minor upkeep task compared to a guitar that chips its finish after a few months. Who should actually buy this instrument? If you're an intermediate player who's outgrown a student-level Strat and you're looking for a guitar that will hold its value, stay in tune through a full set, and give you a broad tonal palette without buying a whole collection of guitars, this is a solid candidate. It's also a good fit for session musicians who need a reliable, neutral tone that can sit in any mix. The resale market for American-made Fenders is strong, so if you ever decide to upgrade, you're not stuck with a depreciating asset. On the other hand, there are clear scenarios where you might want to skip it. If you're a total beginner on a shoestring budget, The price point of the American Professional II can feel steep compared to the Player Series or Squire options, especially when you factor in